All right, y'all, welcome back. Happy Sunday. It's time for my day after thoughts and grades from Tennessee versus UAB. We'll go through the grades. This is just for all of Tennessee starters. We'll talk about some of the freshmen and how they played, just a couple of notes there. And we'll also go through the stats and we'll talk about how some of this stuff is going to correlate to our game coming up versus Mississippi State. Y'all, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. First and foremost, let me say that UAB is a very dirty team. It wasn't just stepping on our kicker's foot, but several things that they were doing, hitting people after the plays, cheap shots, so on and so forth. So I hope that we never schedule them ever again. We paid them $1.6 million or something like that for them to come in here and act like that. I don't like that by any means, and I'm happy that we were able to get out of this game pretty much fully healthy. Okay, that is a blessing for sure. But like we talked about, this is just the grades for all of Tennessee starters. This is not showing you what the freshmen and all that. We're not talking about how they played, but let me actually pull up my notes on those guys here really quickly. So number one, I think that the guys up front as freshmen, as underclassmen, I think that they played very well on our defense. Well, offense too, but Marion Dodd, he looked really good. I think that he got a sack, but he's just getting better and better every single game. He played inside, he played outside, looked great at both of those spots. I think that Campbell, this is the best game that I've seen him play. Looks like he's in good shape, showing a whole lot of twitch. He played obviously inside, held up well there, but also he got some chances to kind of rush on the edge. Looked really good there. He's got some great pass rush moves, some natural pass rush moves. Hopefully he can implement that some more whenever he's playing at, more like on the inside. But I think that he played great. I think that Utley also played very well. He's getting stronger at the point of contact. I'm not too much worried about our defensive tackles. We're building up depth, and coming up next week, I think that Jackson Moore is going to be back. Some of the insiders are saying that not sure if David Hobbs is going to be back just yet, and I'm not too worried about it, but it is going to be a big deal for Mississippi State's offense because they're going to spread the field out, and our defensive tackles have got to be really our entire front, whatever, 4, 7, 5, however Tennessee is going to play it. They're going to have to be strong at the point of contact and do some good things. But those guys gave me a lot of confidence moving forward. So super proud of them. Let's talk about some more guys up front. So Carson Gentle, Kellen Lindstrom, and Emmanuel Okoye, they all looked really good. Carson Gentle, I saw him play on the inside some, but mostly playing at strong side end. Kellen Lindstrom played at Leo and at strong side end, but saw some flashes there, right? They're strong, they're twitchy, they look a lot better out in space than maybe what we had seen previously. So how much will we have to lean on them this year? I think that we could trust them if we have to throw them out there, but for sure next season, something for us to be looking forward to. I think that both of the Jadens playing at linebacker, they looked really good. Super proud of both of those guys. Need to see them more. Okay, I want to see them more for sure. Sidney Walton came in at safety pretty early on in this game, looked really good. You could tell he plays with a whole lot of passion. He gets downhill quickly. Seems like he knows what to do. Seems very sturdy. Love seeing all those things. Christian Gass also, so Christian Gass, this is our first time getting to see him play at Leo. He looked good. He's going to be a freaking dude. So we got some dudes, man, but we need for them just to keep on growing because we're going to need them at some point this season, most of them. Anyway, so with the offense, obviously Jake Merklinger, he did struggle. We talked about that last night. Just going back and watching the film, he missed people that were open. He's got to just let loose, let the freaking football go. And if he does more of that, I think that he'll look better. Still have confidence that he can get things figured out, but also would love to see GMAC too, right? That's an error on the coaching staff. You got to put in GMAC for sure. I think that Morris ran the football well. He had a really big run. We've been talking about that for the past couple of weeks. If our running backs can get to the second level and start making people miss, we're going to run for days, and that's what they all need to do a lot better job of. But Morris, he definitely showed us flashes and, glimpses of how that could look moving forward. He just has to figure out how to, pass block better. And it's tough for the freshman at running back to get that figured out. But once he gets that figured out, he's a guy that I would like to see playing a lot more. Justin Baker, I think he only got 1 carry, so it wasn't very well blocked. Like I said, the offensive line for the young players, they looked pretty good. But they did miss on some things, right? And some of it was also just with the scheme. Hopefully Tennessee can learn from what UAB showed us with their front and how they were able to kind of slow down our running game more or less. Now, I also want to talk about Dotson and Travis Smith. I think that they both looked really good as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these grades for the actual starters, okay? Number one, we're not going to be talking about offensive and defensive coordinator. Their whole game plan is just, in this game versus UAB, it's just, hey, let's go out there and not show too much, maybe work on a couple of things, figure out who we have as depth players, and let's try to get out of here healthy, which they did. But, that's what they're going to be graded off of their game plan, and then the players are going to be graded off their execution of the game plan. So Quarterback Joey Aguilar, I think that he played well. Obviously, he's making some plays. He's getting us out of sacks, which is great. I think he's accurate down the field. He's not afraid to let the football rip. He's going to give his playmakers those opportunities, but they have to be able to make those catches. But yeah, I think that he did some good things in the option game. He actually used his legs some. I think that he pulled the football at the right times. The reason that he has an A- here is because he does fumble on those meshes. I think he's done it maybe every game except for one this year. He might not have done it versus Georgia, but in SEC play coming up, we can't have him fumbling on those like meshes. You know what I'm saying? In the option game. So got to get that cleaned up. But outside of that, I thought that he played very well. Running backs, Star Thomas, obviously he had a great game. Did some very, very nice things. He's making a lot of people miss. Love seeing that. But Bishop and Peyton Lewis, they also did some nice things. Want to see them. And you know what? Bishop did a pretty good job of this, making people miss at the second level. But yeah, that's where they can both maybe grow some more at. And this, running with the patience, I think that they played pretty well. It looked like the blocking was pretty good as well. We do this thing where the running backs will chip and then they'll go out for a route to the flats or whatever. I sometimes it felt to me like they might have been going out on their route a little bit too quickly, but I don't know what the coaches are asking them to do. So I can't too much speak on it, but yeah, I think that they played well. Wide receivers, man, we run really good routes. Okay, for the most part, we catch the football well, and I think that we block well. Like we play physical, we play tough. Mike Matthews, as we touched on, he's going to have to go get the freaking football, which he can do. He's a basketball player. He can jump. He's physical, all those things. He just needs to kind of work on that, but I feel like he's maybe getting even more confidence. Not that he was necessarily lacking for the confidence, but at the same time, you're seeing like your teammates, the other people inside of the room, man, they're adding up all these stats. I think it's good that we got him in the end zone. Felt like that was something that the coaching staff wanted to do. So that's excellent. Tight ends. I think that they played pretty well. They had some really nice blocks, but they also missed on a couple of key blocks. So that's why they have a B plus here. Definitely not horrible. Again, with some of the blocks that they did pick up, it was just excellent, excellent. Like we got tight ends blocking pass rushers, right? Like one-on-one, looking like offensive tackles. But also in our running game and in our passing game, got to keep our faces up, got to keep our eyes open, and we can't be whiffing. Not as often as what I feel like we did versus UAB. Offensive line, I gave them just a straight up B because they have a different standard for me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to grade them a little bit differently because they are really freaking good and they played well for the most part. But we did give up a couple of things that we shouldn't have given up, and we are better than that. You know what I'm saying? Like UAB's defense wasn't great. Like we should have probably not had too much trouble versus those guys. They did some things playing with speed, so on and so forth, that I think gave us a little bit of trouble, but hopefully the coaching staff can get that figured out. But yeah, we're going to need for them to play to bring their A game every single week moving forward. Now for Tennessee's defense, I think that our defensive tackles and our defensive ends, they play well versus the run. But the pass rush, man, we've got some great athletes up there. Y'all just use it, okay? Like use some wiggle in the pass rush. And of course, I'm just talking about mostly veterans here. Not so much with the younger players who show more of that. They've got to do better, and we'll take a look at some of those stats and you'll see. I mean, they're doing a good job with just straight up bull rush, but they can do even better. It's like we were doing it versus UGA. Why did it all of a sudden stop versus UAB? And we're gonna need that next weekend or this upcoming weekend versus Mississippi State. Like we got to be able to impact their quarterback as often as freaking possible. Now you're gonna see right here the Tennessee's linebackers. They have a much better grade than they had last week. So they are taking big steps forward. I think that they looked really good just out in space and tackling. I think that we tackled very well. I think that we looked a lot faster. Whenever the offensive linemen or tight ends, whoever's coming up to block us, much better job in not getting blocked. We missed a couple of run fits, but I mean, that's going to happen sometimes. But I just think that they looked a lot better. Pass coverage to me, they were pretty much where they needed to be. Might have busted on maybe one coverage, maybe two, something like that. But really, the problem with Tennessee's like passing defense was more on our secondary. So let's talk about Tennessee's cornerback. So this is going to be the outside corners and also the star players. So with the outside corners, I think that they played almost a flawless game. Yeah, they're going to give up some underneath stuff because we're playing deep coverage. Like that's just going to happen. Giving up passes does not mean that anybody is necessarily playing poorly. You have to look at, well, what were they asked to do? Did they do that? If they did that, then they're doing a good job. So I think that they did well. Actually, on the touchdown that we gave up to our cornerbacks, that was on like a switch route, which Mississippi State runs a lot of. We got to get something figured out. I don't think that we're going to play UAB the same way, and we're not going to play Mississippi State the same way that we played UAB. So hopefully things look better from that standpoint. But yeah, we just have to be able to figure things out a little bit quicker and then latch on to our guy. But at star, which again is part of this category, a lot of busted coverages. So, and not even like full bust. Some of it was and most of it was on Boot Carter. But J Mac, he missed some too. But it's like they're playing a curl to flat, and because UAB has such a good offensive system, they can push the star player deep into the curl and just throw it to the flat. And there's a whole lot of space there, right? Just based off of the spacing with their route, so on and so forth. So I don't know exactly how the coaches want to fix that, but it does probably need to be fixed some. I know that we want to like limit the deep passes that we give up, come up and make the tackles. We looked pretty solid there, but we did miss some tackles, especially earlier on in this game. But I think that we really made up for it later on. So J Mac, he looked a little bit more solid, I think, than Boot Carter did. But Boot Carter's second half, punching at the football, making plays, making really sound tackles. If he can bring that all the time, then we're going to be in a very good spot, you know. So I'm not saying that Boot Carter played terribly. So someone's going to say that. Definitely not saying that. I just think that he could have played better. I think that J Mac also could have played better. So that's why we have a B plus here, because the outside cornerbacks by themselves, I would probably have given them about like a solid A. And I would say that the star players, they'll probably be at like a B, maybe like a B minus, something like that. So safeties, I think that we looked pretty good out in coverage, mostly like with the run support stuff, looked very good. I think that I think that Caleb Beasley, the way that they flow to the football and they play physical, fighting off blocks, making good tackles. I love seeing that. Obviously, Caleb Beasley, he's able to pick up that fumble that Boot Carter punched out, take it to the house. You love to see your defense scoring. Andre Turntine, he had an interception, also gave up a pass and then missed the tackle. So it's some of the stuff is like, look, our safeties are going to be playing over the top, right? And they just want to try to force all the underneath passes. But you got to be able to maybe tighten up those windows some and start trying to make plays on the freaking football. I think that at this point, we got to start doing that. Like, we have to start asking more out of our safeties. But that's going to do it for all of the grades, y'all. And let's move on to some of these stats, and we'll just kind of like go over these things here pretty quickly. Let me tell y'all that this column over here on y'all's left side, this is going to be showing pretty much all the team stuff, okay? And then this stuff over here to the middle, this is going to be showing you the running offense, the passing offense for both teams, and then this one's just going to be showing you special teams. So y'all can see that Tennessee only ran 2 more plays than UAB did. You can also see that we ran the football 42 times. UAB ran it 14 times. We averaged 6.9 yards per carry. That's the net rush. They averaged 2.4. All right, so yards before contact, 3.6. That looks good. Yards after contact, 3.3. That looks really good. All right, so just as far as the runs of 10 plus yards, we had 8 of those. Y'all can see some of the other things on this side. Of course, y'all take y'all's time, pause it, and y'all can go through and look at whatever you want to look at. Over here, completion percentage was at 60% for Tennessee. But if you were to factor in like the drops and all that, would have actually been at 72%. Now, there is somewhere else where they put these things side by side. I'm not quite sure why they're not having some of UAB's stuff in here, but I think that they were at like 70% just off the rip, which is not good at all for our passing defense. But and again, understand that UAB ran a lot of quick game stuff, a whole lot of screens and touch passes. So like that's going to look good, right? Now, let's go on to, let's talk about the pass protection, right? Let's talk about how Tennessee looked in pass pro. So, of course, this is PFF. I take the grades with a grain of salt, but I focus on some of these individual metrics like pressure rate given up. You can see that Chem Umarov at 3.9%, obviously Jesse Perry at 0%. Also, Wendell Moy, he was at 3.9. Interesting that both of the centers, so William Satterwhite and also Sam Pendleton at the exact same pressure rate, giving up 5.6%. I think that William Satterwhite's at a point that if we felt like maybe Sam Pendleton playing at one of the guards would be an upgrade from Chem Umarov, I think that we could do it. Now, I do think that it's going to be a little bit of a drop-off from Sam Pendleton to what William Satterwhite's going to do, just as far as like real true movement. But Sat looks good as well. So we have 2 very good centers. Definitely wanted to point that out. But let me scroll through. Y'all can see like the rest of the stats, so on and so forth. Obviously up here, this column is sacks, this is hits, this is hurries, and these are just the straight up pressures. Okay, so I'll scroll back through one more time and y'all pause it. Y'all take a look at whatever you want. Now, let's talk about the pass rushing. All right, because there's a couple of players here that really just kind of like fell off, but let's talk about the good stuff first. It's going to be all the same categories here in these columns. This is the win rate, this is the pressure rate. So Campbell, he was at an 8.3% pressure rate. That's really good. Marion Dye at 4.2%. Ethan Utley at 5.9. All those look good to me. Carson Gentle, they're saying at 0%. I would disagree with that. It wasn't a whole lot of pass rushing moves, but he shows a whole lot of strength. I think that he looks good. So he probably was closer to, I would call it maybe 4 or 5%. All right, but Bryson Eason, 12.5%. Don Bailey, 6.3. Don Bailey's looking really good playing at defensive tackle, especially with the, pass rush stuff. Now, I do think that we looked a little bit slow with some of our stunts with our defensive tackles. That's got to get picked up significantly moving forward. But Nathan Robinson, 6.7%. I think he had a nice game. Joshua Josephs, 20%. Jordan Ross, 15.4. Tyree Weathersby at 0%. I think that that's probably pretty accurate. He's got to get some moves. He's got some strong hands. You need to use them more. And then also Caleb Herring at 0%. He just really fell off from the Georgia game. Don't love to see that, but so on and so forth, right? I'll just scroll through and y'all can take a look at it. All right, so the next thing, and probably last thing that we'll look at is just going to be with the coverage grades, okay? Or not even with the grades, but with the coverage numbers. Don't even worry about the grades. Let's talk about the numbers. All right, so focusing on this column here, this is just the rate of passes that they're giving up. This right here is showing you the times that they were targeted in coverage. These are the catches that they gave up inside of this column. So Colton Hood, really, really nice game. Obviously, he's playing outstanding. Don't want to overlook it. Feel like I'm almost overlooking it. Playing great at cornerback. So Tyler Redmond, he had 8 targets, gave up 5 catches. Understand that most of those catches were underneath stuff. It was on screens and things like that. PFF says that he was targeted in coverage based off of that. But down the field, he looked good. And actually, let me show y'all something else. I have to scroll over a little bit for you. This right here shows the forced incompletion rate. And Tyler Redmond had the highest rate, 12.5%. So he did a good job of batting down passes. He did also give up that 1 touchdown on that switch route, but hopefully we're going to be able to get that figured out. All right, so Boo Carter, let's take a look at what he did, because a lot of folks are going to talk about that. Targeted 7 times, gave up 6 catches. Like I said, a lot of that was going to be in zone coverage, could have been on screens and things like that. As far as the forced incompletions, I don't know if he had any. Let's move it over. Yeah, so he didn't have any of those, but I think that he played okay. There was a lot of busting coverages. We could also take a look at J-Mac right here. So he was targeted 7 times. He gave up 5 catches. So very, very similar, right? Let's see, did he force any incompletions? They're saying no. So I just wanted for y'all to see some of these things, right? And we'll keep on scrolling through, right? And y'all can just pause it, take a look at more of these players. But I did want for y'all to just see how all this stuff actually breaks down, because the numbers could look crazy, but it's really going to be more based off of, hey man, there's a lot of underneath passes being thrown here, or they're doing what they're asked to do in zone coverage. I am a little bit concerned about us missing on our coverages or busting in coverage. That's not going to be a good look next week, because Mississippi State will put a lot of stress on our defense from that standpoint. But all in all, I think that Tennessee is going to be ready, and we're going to go ahead and flip the page to Mississippi State. And we'll be coming out on Monday and breaking down how our offense looks versus their defense, or we might actually do it vice versa, because I think the tougher matchup is going to be their offense versus our defense. So yeah, we're going to switch it up. Coming up tomorrow, that's what we're going to be focusing on. But y'all, please do us a favor, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your thoughts down in that comment section, and we will be talking to y'all tomorrow. Thanks, peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.